Workshop. Today my project is going to be to modify this table saw to a much larger unit. I'm going to actually connect it onto the end of my bench, and so the bench becomes an outfeed table. And so what I'm going to do, I've got a 1/2 inch ply sheet here, or half a sheet, and I'm going to cut the size of the table saw bed out of, and I'll then move it up so it surrounds the saw, or the saw tabletop, and I'm going to put some heavy duty sliding legs out from underneath the bench for the table saw to actually sit on firmly and squarely with the top of the bench. Slide out legs will come out from underneath the bench, something like this, and I can have a packer block here to come up underneath the table saw bed to hold it securely. And this sheet will actually come out to the front edge, so I not only increase the size of the bed of the table saw, but what I want to do, the piece that I cut out to fit this table saw bed into, I'm going to make a sled out of. I've marked out on the ply now where the table of the table saw is actually going to slot into. I've marked out the extension slots on the plyboard as well, which are the extension of the slots from the table that the sled is going to ride into. I've also cut the cross beams out of 2x4s, which are going to be mounted underneath the bench, and the slide-out beams out of 2x4. I'm pre-drilling the holes in the cross beams to ensure that I don't split the wood when I put the rather large screws in it. Put this beam in the right position so I can easily slide out the sliders. I've used the beam that I'm going to put in the middle of the bench as a spacer to know where to put this one, and I've also put a 2mm shim piece of metal in there to know that I'm going to be able to slide it in and out quite easily. I'm retaining it with these rather large hexagon driven screws. To slide out supporting frame, and I've got it all squared up, and now I'm going to screw it all together. I've cut some stiffeners to keep it all square. I need some stop and guide blocks, which I'm just going to take the corners off and make them a little bit more presentable. Whenever I'm doing something like this, what I normally like to do is offer the part up and tack it in place with a brad first before I finally screw it. I know it works fine. So my idea for this is that it gets folded away and I don't walk into it, and well, it's totally contained. So when required, it's pulled out and then you just slot the table saw in it. Now to do that, now what I have to do is build a staging up on top of this to fit on the underside of the table of the saw. And to fit on the next job now is to cut out where the table saw is actually going to be positioned in this sheet. And of course the circular saw will leave the corner here on the other side uncut, so now I'll get my jigsaw out to finish it off. Actually, I've decided to do it the old-fashioned way. Simply to connect this sheet to the bench, and also the bench, this sheet, and the saw itself all into one unit, so nothing's going to float around or move. Just simply a set of 6 screws, one in the front corner of this assembly here, which holds the saw into the tabletop, and 2 screws back here, they're all countersunk, to hold this top sheet into this bench. And it's really solid. If anything ever happens to this table, if ever I need to or feel the need to, I can change the top sheet, because it's a 19mm sheet on top of a 40mm sheet. Pretty good. Well, the job's done so far. So far it's pretty solid. So there it is so far. I think it's a very worthwhile addition to my workshop. It's certainly made the table saw a lot more useful, and I could dismantle it and reassemble it like this in approximately 10 minutes or less. In fact, I'll just dismantle it now. So I think that'll do for this video, and I hope you've enjoyed watching so far. on these few modifications. The next video, I think what I will do is I want to write out the ways in that top sheet to continue through from the table saw bed, and I want to make a sled to fit the table saw and to transform my table saw into a more useful tool. So until next time, bye for now. And then before I actually screw it all up together, I can test